Introducing PolyCore.
Hi, I'm Paul Delory for PolyCore. I want to introduce you to the speakers in this video today. First, we have Greg Thompson. Greg has a history of almost 50 years in the outdoor industry. He started out as a climber in Yosemite, went on to found Wilderness Experience with his brother Jim, and create some of the most innovative products in the outdoor market in those days. He is currently the Chief Outdoor Officer at Adidas America. Greg's perspective on creating sustainable products is a long and tenured one, and also very authoritative. We'll have with us today also Todd Spoleto. Todd is currently just left the position of President of Wolverine Worldwide. Before that, he was the president of the North Face here in America. Todd understands the importance of creating sustainable products in both small companies and large entities. In addition, you'll be hearing from my partner, Arthur Chen. Arthur has over 40 years experience in creating PU coatings. He has studied this process for all that time. Arthur currently has patented a PU coating, a water-based PU coating, that does not emit VOCs and will not hurt the environment. It will also increase the fabric abrasion resistance by up to 500%. You'll be hearing from the newest member of the PolyCore's team, Casey Jeffson, who is a new young father and has a keen interest in creating a better environment for his daughter on this planet. So take a few minutes, listen to the video, and if you're interested, give us a call at PolyCore. Thank you.
Great. Hey, thanks everybody. I'm really excited to be here with the PolyCore team. Paul and the team asked me just to share a few quick thoughts on why sustainability is so important right now. And I think, for me, I frame this up in terms of what I call the 4 Ps of sustainability. And there's 4 key areas that I just would like to quickly touch on that reinforce how important sustainability is right now. And the first P is probably the one that many of you would think of, and that is planet. Sustainability is especially critical for us in the outdoor industry because our playgrounds on this planet heavily depend on snow, water, trails, seasons. And so doing things to protect our playgrounds are incredibly important to this multi-billion-dollar industry that we're all a part of. However, these other 3 Ps go a little bit deeper, and I think they are a representation of what I consider to be a fairly dramatic pivot that we're seeing in consumer products and specifically in the outdoor industry. And that pivot is how businesses and brands are digging deeper around what they stand for and how they operate to develop those necessary connections with consumers. If you think about it, 10 plus years ago, our industry, sporting goods and outdoor, was largely manufacturers of classifications of product. We had brands that made backpacks or made coolers or made exercise equipment. And if you think about the brands that are winning today, these aren't classification manufacturers. These are deeply emotive brands that share values with consumers. And you see that. If you look at categories like coolers, what was Igloo is now Yeti. Exercise equipment, what once was Life Fitness is now Peloton. Even when I started working in the backpack industry, it was largely 10 or 12 brands of companies that just made backpacks. And while great companies like JanSport still thrive and lead in this space, a lot of the competitors are now Nike and Under Armour and North Face and Patagonia. And so why I connect that to sustainability is these 3 other Ps of sustainability are expressions of this deep connection that brands need to make in order to have a connection with consumers. And so the second P is purpose. Purpose is something that every single brand needs to define why they exist beyond making profits. Certainly we can look in our industry at a brand like Patagonia that has done a wonderful job of making sustainability and environmentalism the purpose and the reason why they exist. And while you can lead with that as your single greatest purpose, that's terrific. But even beneath that purpose are core values. And Whether it's what we're reading in the news on a daily basis today or the longstanding importance of sustainability, consumers are looking to align themselves with brands that have a purpose, that align with the way that consumers want to lead their life. The third P, super quick, is people. And people, I would say, is both internal and external. The hunt for great talent inside your company is more fierce than it's ever been. And I know for a fact that one of the biggest, most critical elements to recruiting and retaining talent at your company is by leading a corporate culture internally that expresses concern and shared values with the people that work there. And so leading with sustainability and having that be an everyday visible component of what you do is a really important component, not only for your consumers to see that and buy your products, but also for your employees to see that and be proud to come to work each day and want to stay there a while. And then lastly, the fourth P is product. If you don't step into this P, the other three really don't matter. You can do great work around the planet. You can have a terrific purpose that connects with people. But if we don't express that in the ultimate thing that we bring to market, which is product, then we really aren't walking the walk. And so I'm really excited for you guys to hear about what PolyCore is up to, because I think ultimately, if we care about the planet, if we develop a deep, meaningful purpose that connects with people, both internally as our associates and externally as our consumers, ultimately what we need to do is reflect that in the products that we make and bring to market. And that's product. So those are a few of the things that I think about as the four pieces of sustainability. And I think it is not only something that is a good thing to do for society, but it is directly related to who is taking market share and winning in not only the outdoor sporting goods industry, but in consumer products overall. So thanks very much. Excited to be here.
Hi, my name is Greg Thompson, and I am currently the Managing Director of Adidas Outdoor in the United States. My real title is Chief Outdoor Officer, and I've been doing that for about the last 10 years. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I started in the outdoor industry very early as a young climber in my middle teens and a Yosemite climber in the late 60s. But my big turning point came in 1970 when I went on a Everest expedition and spent about 1 year traveling. On that trip to Everest, we wore wool knickers, we wore wool shirts, we had canvas backpacks, we had pup tents, we had limited down sleeping bags, and it was a really kind of a brutal experience with not great products. So when I came back, I started getting involved in designing and developing outdoor products and specializing in technical gear for high altitude mountaineering, and then more for regular general mountaineering programs. And I had started a company with my brother called Wilderness Experience, where we started to manufacture a large variety of products from new materials and new installations that were just hitting the market. We created a new pack line made out of Cordura, which was at the time a synthetic version of heavy canvas, much more durable, and it was coated with polyurethane. We made products out of Gore-Tex. We were at one point one of the largest suppliers of Gore-Tex products in the United States, and that was all made with a laminated polyteflon. And so most of the products we made were more focused on performance and less on sustainability, because at that time products just didn't work well enough for what was going on. In those early days, we would go back to Kenyan mills and watch them pour polyurethane out of buckets onto the material as the fabric was scraped through these blades to spread on the polyurethane. The smell was unbelievable, and people could only work in the area for a limited amount of time because it was rather toxic. Over the years, we continued to make products, and in 2002, I bought a company called Mountainsmith, and they had an iconic product called the lumbar pack. It was very famous in the Rocky Mountain areas. And at the same time, a new company was making some material out of 100% recycled plastic bottles. So we switched 100% of the product over into recycled polyester for production in the United States. I took it to a number of retailers, and generally retailers that you would expect would be 100% interested in sustainability and doing the right thing, but pretty much 100% of the retailers said, we will only buy it if it costs the same price as the regular. We will pay no additional amount for sustainable products. And so that went on for a number of years until eventually there was more and more of a movement to get to sustainability. So by maybe 2010, the discussions were more on sustainability and how to make products that lasted without harming the environment. A big proponent of this was Patagonia, really setting the path and the trends for organic cotton and for the free trade with the proper factories and doing things right in the long run. So we adopted a lot of those products. In 2010, I started working for Adidas, and we started talking about making more sustainable products for the general outdoor population. And about 5 years ago, we introduced the first running shoes and trail shoes made entirely out of recycled plastic bottles. And this became a pretty big seller and is continuing to do so today. The goal at Adidas is that by 2024, 100% of the polyester that they use throughout the entire company's product line will be recycled. It's a very ambitious goal, but one that's quite attainable. By the way, the shoes have sold about 16 million pairs of shoes made out of plastic bottles, which takes a few 100 million bottles out of entering the oceans. So it's also a very good program. Overall, sustainability now is maybe one of the number one factors for people buying products. So we try to point out the fact that using the right coatings can also really improve not only the performance of the product, but the sustainability of the product, and do this in the right way without damaging the environment. Same thing with dye stuffs and the basic materials to start this out of. So it's been a long 30, 40 years worth of watching the outdoor industry change from not so interested in sustainability and the environment to being highly focused on sustainability and the environment. And we can only say that this is a great direction and something that should be continued and supported, and hopefully people will be willing to pay a little bit more to make sure that they keep their environment that they're going out to play in safe also. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the rest of the panel, and let me know if you have any questions on products or the industry or that. I've been around for a while. Thanks.
Greetings. So thank you for coming to the webinar today. This is our first time trying webinar, and instead of a physical trade show at OR. So I hope you guys would like it. My name is Arthur Chan, and founder of PolyCore's. I have some personal experience I'd like to share with you. In the year 1989, when I first entered outdoor industry, I had a chance to visit a solvent-based PU coating factory in Taiwan. When I get out of the car and walk into the coating factory, I smell something really, really bad. And I asked the factory manager, what is the smell about? And he told me that this is called MEK. It's a solvent that is widely used in the solvent-based PU coating. As you guys may know, MEK is a very strong solvent, has a very strong and peculiar smell. It's really bad for the environment. It's a major part of VOC, not only used in the coating industry, but also in the painting, in the printing, and also in the shoemaking industry. So the chart here shows that on the very left side, the black part here, the manufacturing of VOC produce about 10% of the emission. And the second part here, the green part, about 5% coming from the storage and transport of VOC. And the third part here, the brown part, this is about 8% coming from manufacturing of other products. And the good 80%, the blue part here that I highlighted, it coming from the printing, the painting, shoemaking, and also our coating industry for the outdoor market. So in the whole world, about 1.2 to 2 million people actually die annually because of the heart, lung, or stroke problems. And this is incredibly polluted air in our earth. And this is why we need to eliminate the emission of VOC. The next chart here that shows that from the year 2011 to the year 2013, the VOC emission actually doubled from 15 million tons to about 30 million tons. Now, if you look at the chart here closely, you can see that the purple part and also the green part and the brown part here really didn't grow much, but the blue part here grow like twice. And this is why that we need to try to eliminate the emission of VOC and eliminate the solvent-based coating. The next chart here shows the three different scenarios. Scenario A is that if we follow the current path in the year 2020, we actually would about 30 million tons of VOC emitted. If we don't do anything, and by the year 2050, it's actually going to grow to about 140 million tons in the scenario A. Now, scenario B is that if we do something, we take action, slow down the emission, the year 2020 will be about the same, but the year 2050, we will grow to about 60 million tons. So this is a lot slower than the 140 million tons, okay? The scenario C is that if we don't do anything, if we totally eliminate all the VOCs in the manufacturing process, it would actually still continue to grow, but would grow in a slower pace in the scenario C. But everybody knows that this is not going to happen. We're not going to be able to eliminate all the printing, the painting, and all the industries. So the most likely scenario is the scenario B, and this is why we need to take action now. Talk about outdoor industry. So the chart here shows that global day pack market in dollar value from 2018 to 2024. For the 2020, it is estimated about 1 billion day pack will be sold, okay? And on average, each day pack would use 0.5 yards of PU coated fabrics to provide waterproofness and other characters. So annual consumption and emission of VOC will be some 500,000 tons just for the day pack market. Obviously, as you know, that the coating is widely used in the outerwear and other outdoor industry, and the emission actually total we estimated would be 100% bigger, which would actually be about 5.5 about 100% bigger. So let's see that if we do have by using a PolyCore water-based PU coating, we can help to reduce 1 million kilos of VOC emission for every 1 million yards of PU coated fabrics. So that's why it's important that we do it. And the whole outdoor industry, if we eliminate all the solvent base, it's actually going to be tremendous in this whole picture here. Now let's talk about the PolyCore technology here in the next slide here. So the slide here on the upper left corner shows a typical coating. The water repellency on the top of the fabric, and the fabric in the middle here, and a coating in the very bottom part. With the PolyCore technology, that we are able to increase the abrasion resistance by 500%. You can see on this chart here, the pure finish and also the PolyCore recycled polyester, it's actually increased about 500% abrasion. Now the technology here, I want to show you in the bottom picture here. Typically, the coating is barely touching the face of the back of the fabric. In the PolyCore technology, we penetrate deeper into the structure of the fabric. You can see that the coating actually going on the top of the weft yarn. So in that situation, it's actually going to stabilize the fabric during abrasion, during movement. And that actually will create stability for the fabric structure and will increase the abrasion resistance. We actually customize to fit each customer needs, okay? The abrasion resistance is just one part. We can do flame retardancy, we can do UV resistance, and we can do mildew resistance, and we even are working on the lamination process here. So overall, I believe we got to do something to eliminate the solvent-based coating and also to save the earth and make it sustainable. Thank you. And that's it.
One of the things that I want to talk about is sustainability based on consumers and kind of what their buying behaviors are. So one of the main things that I've really focused on lately is just understanding who and why people are buying specific things. If it's, based off of, recycled plastic shoes, or if it's a backpack or anything nowadays. I know a lot of people have been doing a lot of research. I personally do a lot more research now, seeing specifically what is in products. So based on that, I actually read a couple articles, and this was an article that Forbes did based off their own reports that they actually did. It's called State of the Consumer, Generation Z Shoppers on Demand of Sustainability Retail. And this notes that 62% of Generation Z people are going to be getting into the workforce, and a majority of those Generation Z consumers, 54% of them are willing to spend 10% or more on products that are sustainable and that are focused specifically on what their own personal ideas and values are to them. And that's another article that I read from the Business Insider, is that 47% of internet users worldwide will ditch products if they don't fit or are committed to personal values that they own themselves, and as well as what they're doing throughout their whole consumer supply chain process. So with that said, one of the things that I'm really focused on is showing and helping companies show what their impact is on sustainability fact, in that showing others that aren't doing the right thing that they're just not, doing enough. And what I mean by this is that there's a word out there that's getting it's a real kind of hot topic now. It's called greenwashing, which greenwashing means that there's people out there that are saying that they're sustainable and that they're eco-friendly, but they're really not doing it based on their products. They're doing it if it's volunteer work and charitable donations, which are great. But like I said, based off of statistics, a lot of people are doing, a lot of consumers are doing a lot of research now on what are their products containing, where are they supplying from, how are the workers in those conditions, based off of Arthur's point of it's just not a great smell. I mean, you can smell it right away. So based on that, that's one of the things that I'm trying to bring to the forefront is just the understanding of what new consumers nowadays are trying to do and try to promote that to you guys as well.
There's an old saying, actions speak louder than words. Because if words were good enough, the social and racial injustice problems that we face today would have been solved in the 60s when I was a teenager, but they haven't. We currently also face a huge crisis with our climate. The globe is warming as we speak. We're reaching a point soon that if we don't make changes, there will be no turning back. We may have passed that tipping point. Each of us has to be responsible for doing something to make the change. At PolyCore, we have a patented water-based coating for fabrics that will increase abrasion resistance by up to 500%. It also does not emit VOCs like other solvent-based coatings and deplete the ozone. So let's look at making a change together. It's something easy and small that if we all do it in the outdoor industry, whether it's PolyCore's formula or someone else's, let's stop using solvent-based coatings which deplete the ozone. Together, we have to make a difference. Thank you, and thanks for listening.
To learn more, visit us at www.polycore.net or email us at contact@polycore.net.